Classic FM 91.1. You are family to us. Please, if those hands are not busy, please put your hands together as I make welcome Mrs. Tobore Olumoye. Drum roll.
Hey. Thank you so much, Jerry. Good evening, everyone. Good evening to all our listeners. And from me to you, it's still a new year.
Yes,
so it's a happy new year.
Yeah, I want to say happy. It's the first time we're saying this year.
Absolutely.
Happy New Year. Happy to see you. I'm a great fan of what you do. Great fan of what you do, and I want to say keep, with the knowledge. I feel uncomfortable. But again, there's nothing like I do. When the truth hits you, it just hits you. Thank you so much. It's comforting knowing that whenever I reach out, you always, you respond immediately, and that's, it comes from a place of love, and I do really, really appreciate. Happy New Year. How are you and how's the family?
Very well, thank you. Good to see you too.
Yeah, we're good. We're good. God is faithful.
Awesome.
All right. Your thing is personal finance.
That's right.
And I did tell you that at the end of this conversation, I'll tie it, when I go full circle, I'll tie it with retirement.
Okay.
Some people do not feel comfortable thinking about, especially when you're in your 30s, 40s, it looks like there's still time.
There's still time.
Now, when you
Retirement
wake up
is
and
far.
you're like 50 and you realize that there's no time.
Absolutely.
And, it puts you in a place of pressure. But I want to kickstart with my first question. Where is it? All right. Now, how do you describe personal finance in simple terms? So break it down so people get a grasp of it. And why do you think that money remains one of the biggest stress points for people, even for high income earners?
Okay, so again, I say thank you. And for people who wonder why I always respond when Jerry calls me, meanwhile I don't respond to others, it's because I think this issue of personal finance is so important. And by the way, personal finance is your finance, you as an individual, not the company's finance, not the country's finance, not the organization's finance, not anyone else's finance, you, the individual, your own money, and the money that affects your personal system. And the reason this is important is, I'll give a typical example of a CEO. A CEO is in charge of maybe hundreds of millions of dollars for an organization. You see that he's doing a fantastic job as the head of the team. He's managing hundreds of millions of dollars. The company is profitable. The staff in the company are paid their salaries. Company is growing. They've moved from one country to another. The company flourishes. But when you look at the CEO's life, you see that he is struggling. He's paying his children's school fees, but he needs to wait till payday to be able to pay. He's struggling with debt. He's owing people. Yes, he wears a lovely suit. Yes, he wears a pristine shirt. He looks like he's fine, but his personal finance is in trouble. But the company's funds are good. The company is flourishing, but the individual running the company is struggling. And this story is the same across board. It has nothing to do with whether you're a CEO or you're a cleaner or you're a clerk. It doesn't matter. Because money is such a sensitive thing, because money guides virtually everything we do, your personal finance is extremely powerful. In fact, I tell people that your personal finance starts before you are born and it continues long after you exit the scene. That's how powerful it is.
Wow.
So you find out that you are born into a family that already had an existing financial plan in place, or not. So, for example, when you get married and you say, oh, we want to have 3 children because that's what we can afford, there's a plan. Someone is saying, we will have 3 children, and you happen to be one of the children. So you see that the finance has started. They've started planning you before you were even conceived. In fact, your conception is part of a plan. And so you get into a plan. You go to a nice school, you go to a nice primary school, secondary school, you have a minder, you have caregiver, because somebody planned their personal finance, versus somebody that said, I love you, you love me, which is going to happen in another 13 days. So I needed to put that in. And then in 9 months' time, in October, those of us who were born in October, we are looking at our parents. Our October bones, we are looking at our parents with one corner eye. In 9 months' time, you now say, oh, we did not know, we did not plan it. All of these decisions are tied to personal finance. So you see that your personal finance begins even before you are born. If you are lucky, if your parents are wise, if they understand finance, you enter a system that is planned, you get into the system, you start your journey. When you pass on, you are able to pass on wealth to the next generation. And that's why we say, in fact, for me, I'm extremely passionate about personal finance. So that's the difference. The personal finance is the finance that has to do with you, yourself, all the way from financial literacy to financial planning, which, by the way, is a spectrum up to transfer of wealth to the next generation.
Okay, there's something you said that really struck a chord, which is outwardly some persons look good, looks like all is fine, but when you sit down and maybe have a deep conversation, you realize that people are caught in debt, a lot of debt, and
You're going through a lot.
Yeah, a lot of persons have get themselves in this circle of 30-day one,
One pay.
30-day one pay, and all of that, and it puts a lot of stress on on them. Outwardly looks like everything is fine, but inwardly and all of that financially,
Sure.
people are really going through a lot. So where does budgeting come where does budgeting, or how can people plan better? The year has started.
Oh yeah.
Yes, 2026. What are the things people should start setting, paying attention to, especially how can people plan better this year so they're not caught in this rat race of this vicious cycle, and before you know it, the year comes to an end. Nothing to show for it. It's just people on this rat race or treadmill, and So, what are the things people should pay attention, or what can we set up to help us in this year 2026? Whether you're a high income earner or you're a low income earner, but I believe wherever you find yourself, there are some certain things you can do to really help you this year. So, what are those things that people can do this year?
Like I said last year, when I came on the show last year, and we said I was going to come back, and here I am. The answer is not going to change. The answer doesn't change. It remains the same. To fix your finances, you need to have a plan. It's as simple as that. You must set up your financial plan. You can do it a fancy way. You get a financial planner, they sit with you, they work with you, set up a plan, help you with your budgeting, ensure you have a children's education plan in place, retirement plan. They can do the fancy stuff for you. But if you cannot afford one, you can do it yourself. Set up a plan. It's like a man who wants to build. It doesn't matter how high the building is or how low. If there is no building plan, that building will most likely not take shape. Everything begins with a plan. So set up your plan. This year, and I remember when Jerry introduced me, I said the year has already ended. Because for many people, the way you start it is the way you're going to end it. If by January 31, you don't have a plan in place, we're already, 1st February is already gone. It tells you that you have begun to repeat, recycle, rinse, repeat, recycle the same things you were doing last year. And to cut it, to be able to do something different, first things first, sit down, confront your fears. When it comes to personal finance, it can be scary. Sitting down and looking at those numbers can be scary, but you have to do it. You're an adult. Sit down, look at what you earn, look at what needs to be done, look at what you can do to do them, look at what you can afford, and then make very hard but important decisions. Decision number 1 is a budget. You must set up a budget. Your budget will tell you, these are the different things I'm going to do to make money this year. This is where I currently make money from. These are the places I'm expecting money. And by the way, if you're listening to me and your budget starts with expense, know that that's not a correct budget. Your budget must start with income. So you must have a budget for income. Say, this February that is coming, I'm going to make 50,000 from salary. I'm going to make 5,000 from returns on my existing investment. I'm going to make 10,000 from helping people sell products. I'm going to make 5,000 from sales and marketing. I'm going to make 10,000 from the love of my life. I have a Valentine target of this Valentine. I know some of you have targets. I'm going to get 100,000 from all those people that claim they love me. It's your target. It's your budget. So when you've gathered all of the monies together, that's your income target. The next thing you want to do, and what I'm explaining to you now is how the budget runs, a good budget. Once you have identified all of your income streams, you've aggregated them, the next thing you want to do is save and invest. And Jerry had said, we talked about retirement, and we're going to talk about it. The first person you should pay before you pay any other person is yourself. Pay yourself first. You're the one who has done all the work to earn all of that money. Put money aside for yourself. And which of yourselves are we talking about? Your future self. Put money aside for yourself. Put money for savings towards investment. Put money towards retirement. Put money in strategic goals, but put money aside. I'm not going to sit down here and tell you percentages. It's dependent on where you are and your goals. It is when you have taken out money for savings and investment, the balance is what is now available for expense. I know you are going to call and tell me, oh, the 100,000 is not even enough for me to eat. Is it not Hubele food that we see tomorrow that we saved for tomorrow? You keep coming up with excuses. The good thing about personal finance is that money doesn't care. Whether you make excuses, if you like, do the right thing, it doesn't care. Time will reveal those who are disciplined. In another 10 years, you will look back and ask yourself, couldn't I truly have saved that 5,000 naira every month? Couldn't I have done it? See where I would have gone if I had started. Couldn't I have tightened myself? Couldn't I have skipped a meal and saved? Couldn't I have downgraded my lifestyle a bit? You will be the one to ask yourself. But you can sit pretty today and make any excuse. But as you are making excuses, remember that time does not forgive. So for those who are ready to take action, so set out your budget, do the right thing. You will now see whether you can afford your current lifestyle. If you can, fantastic. If you cannot, it's time to take a downgrade. Pause and say to yourself, okay, it's obvious that I can no longer afford to pay 2.5 million for a 2-bedroom. What can we do to adjust? Do we need to move to a different location where we can still afford to pay 1.2 million naira for rent? Or do we take a position and say, look, we have a piece of land. Let's even put something, even if it's a tent on it, and start. Or do we say, no, we need to relocate totally? What can we do? You must have those conversations. In fact, if you're having it now, it's a bit late. You should have had it last year. But now it's not too late like that. You still have an opportunity to do it so that every money that comes into your system goes to do the right thing. So, Jeremy, those are some things people can begin to do to see difference in their finances.
All right. Thank you so much. You really covered. I had some questions I wanted to ask, but from what you just said, you really covered it. As a personal finance coach, what are the most common mistakes people make with their money? I know there's also this lifestyle thing, keeping up with the Joneses and all of that. And I wanted to ask questions about habits, but you just touched on, habits, which is saving and having a budget. Some people are caught in this cycle of loans.
Mm-hmm.
They get from here and all of that. What's your take?
Yeah, so
it's a habit, I know, but what is your take of people caught in this trap of taking
borrowing from Peter to pay Paul?
Yeah, exactly. And again, they're still in that vicious cycle. And before you know it, the year has come, the year has gone, and what's your take on it?
So it's sad, it's tragic. Everyone who is dependent on loan to fund lifestyle. Again, we need to be careful about loans. When it comes to loans, there are different types. There's good credit and there's bad credit.
Okay.
If you are borrowing to fund lifestyle, then it's bad. But if you are borrowing to fund assets, if you are borrowing to fund projects that generate income, then it is good. I assume we're not talking about funding projects.
Okay, let me come from this angle right now. If for someone that is, let's say, you're not a high income earner,
okay,
let's say, and there's reality, there's family, kids, and all of that. Families pulling in one direction, kids are pulling in school fees and all of that. And sometimes maybe where you're working, it's not, the salary is not that much, and it doesn't come
as it
regular.
should.
And again, as a man, you're thinking in different directions at the same time. Sometimes you have to take a look from. So you're still in that survival mode.
Oh yeah.
That's what you're in the survival mode. A person that is in that place in his or her life, what's your advice?
Okay, so if you're in survival, for example, what you've described, the first thing you want to do is have a plan to get out of survival mode. Yeah, I'm also going to come back to a plan, because there has to be a strategy to get out of where you are. And I'll give you a simple plan. For example, let's say I currently earn 50,000 naira a month.
Okay.
And I have looked at my numbers. it is impossible to achieve the goal I want to achieve on 50,000.
Why do people find it difficult looking at the numbers?
Yes, because the numbers trigger.
Yes, looking at that. I think people struggle with even the idea of
and it can lead to palpitations, and it's not a joke. And guess what, Jerry? It's not just numbers around finance. It's not even numbers around health, even numbers around anything. Numbers tend to, because numbers are facts. Numbers are facts. Numbers. I used to have a boss that said, if you have to explain a numbers question with words, then your numbers are wrong. So if I asked you 2 + 2, I say, well, you see, actually, as we were going, just know that you don't know the answer is 4. If you know the answer, you call it 4. And for people who avoid numbers, they simply don't know the answers. If you want to get your finance game on points, you have to confront the numbers. You need to know. It's like a man who wants to build, and you start with by God's grace, we will build a house. You are a joker. You need to sit, because if you don't know, how then do you decide whether you want to start with a bungalow, whether you want to build a terrace building, or you want to do a duplex? What do you want to build? It is what is in your hands and your expected inflow that will determine. So you have to have a plan. But a lot of people say, oh, we'll just do it like that, one time. Maybe we'll just start. Let's just start. God will help us to run it. And then down the line, they find out that that's not God's plan. God doesn't help people run things. He works with those who plan and they achieve their goals. But let's not bring the God factor in. Let's face the humans. So, many people don't want to confront the numbers because the numbers don't lie. Numbers will tell you. When you sit down, it's like, look, let me give you the simplest of tasks, which people avoid, and I've never understood it. For members of my community, for instance, today we're going to have a meeting. And the first thing I'm going to say is the same thing I say every single month. Go and review your statement of account for last month. Go and review it. Download it. Look at it. Look at the entries. You were the one who spent the money. You earned the money. Go and see what God has done in your life. You made so and so. This is what you spent it on. And then you hear people say, I don't want to look at it. I already know. If you already know, why are you afraid of looking at it? Look at it. Go and see it. When you look at it, your brain will begin to receive the result. But you know why people avoid it? The feeling of shame. Okay. The feeling that all of this money really passed through my hands. And then sometimes you hear people say, I spent this money, but I cannot tell what I spent it on. Yeah. The reason you cannot tell is because there was no plan ab initio. People like us who know where every naira is going, we can tell, because money will not go where we did not send it. And that's what people need to understand. When it comes to money, money goes on errands.
At the risk of digressing, there's something that we Africans from this part of the climb do a lot: black tax.
Yeah, well, it's a necessary tax. I'm not going to sit down here and say it's bad. Most of us are beneficiaries of black tax.
Okay.
Our parents lived off the goodwill of others. People, at some point in our history, some brother or uncle took our fathers by the hand and said, come to the city, we will help you. Okay. Or your mother received some form of gratis or some form of charity or some form of goodwill from somebody. Even us, as we are today, we receive help from different people at different levels. We're all on different levels of our journey. In Africa, it is a bit heavier, and we tend to call it black tax because it seems like it is expected of you whether you want it or not. But is it absolutely bad in of itself? No, it is not, because we should help. We should raise those who are currently not as blessed as we are. Where it becomes a burden is where people factor it into their own income. So I sit down here and I say, I'll give a classic example. I have 3 children, right? And I'm setting up my retirement plan, and I say, no, my retirement plan, my first daughter is Mimi. Mimi will take care of my housing. Oina will take care of feeding. Coco will take care of clothing. 3 of them will join money and take care of my trips abroad. I'm sitting down today to plan the destiny of my children against my own expense. That's where it becomes bad. Where people don't take responsibility, they just they become a burden to others. Then that's where the black comes from. It becomes really black because it's not fair. But if it's goodwill, I know I should send something to my
But
mom.
sometimes our parents at some point had or have sacrificed even their own lives to ensuring that we have the life
Mm-hmm.
we have today.
Mm-hmm.
Not necessarily terminate black tax as per se, but they gave everything
They did.
to ensuring that we are standing.
That's right.
So in a position like that,
You should help. I mean, any good child would
should it
help.
be factored into should it be factored into your
Budget.
budgeting or
Absolutely. If you know that you are going to give, and so again, if you remember what I said about the budget, after you've taken care of yourself, the last thing is expense. When you're doing your expense budget, you need to be very real. You need to be honest. You need to know your numbers. If you know that, okay, after every other thing, savings and investment, what I have left in my hand is 150,000. This is the time to say, okay, this 150,000 is where we will eat from, we will pay school fees, we will pay rent, we will pay for medication, we will send money to mama and papa, we will buy clothes, shoes, everything. That's maintaining the lifestyle. If you know that you usually send money to your parents or you plan to send, that money you're sending has to be factored into the budget. You cannot wake up one day and say, hey, mama, I'll send you 20,000. Then the next month you say, I don't have. You are not being fair to her. Instead of sending her 20,000 in January and not sending again and making her expect, call her and say, mommy, at this moment, I cannot send you money every month. What I can do is once a quarter, I will send you 5,000 naira. That's what I can afford now. When circumstances increase or improve, I will increase it. Have that conversation because she's a stakeholder in your finances. If you are not going to send to her, tell her. Say, mommy, I'm sorry, right now I am unable to send. But believe me, there are a few things I'm working on. When they crystallize, I'm going to send you. I'm going to place you on a stipend of, say, 5,000. If you have those kinds of conversations, the stakeholders will not begin to resent you. There will be no feeling of ill will. But when you now come today, you give 5,000, you go blank for another 3 months. I know parents, nothing they don't rake. If they'll call you and remind you how, I carried you for 9 months, especially mothers, they won't waste time to tell you. But you can have those genuine conversations. But you can't have those conversations if you don't know your numbers. You need to know your numbers. Even as a man, you should be able to call your wife and say, look, I know men, this is where many of you will be tempted to start throwing tantrums. Please don't throw any tantrum. Calm down. Please listen first, because once I say this and I want to say, they will all go off the hook. Men, wouldn't it be nice if you were to call your wife and say, honey sugar pie, this is my pay slip.
I'm waiting for you. Go on. I'm really waiting.
You need to see Jerry's eyes.
I'm waiting for
honey
you.
sugar, this is how much I earn every month. I currently earn 550,000 naira monthly. But here's the thing. Out of this 550,000 naira, I think we should be able to manage the household with 200,000 naira from my end. I know you make some money from your end. I'm not going to ask you how much, but please use this 200,000 naira and add whatever you want to add. Let's see if we can manage it. This 350,000 that is left, see, I want us to put 300,000 naira in this fund, because at the end of next year, I want us to buy land. In 3 years' time, I want us to have started building. In 5 years' time, I want us to be able to send Kenneth to school. This is what I think the money should be used for. Your wife, being a lovely, God-fearing gender somebody, will look at you and say, oh, my darling, you make a lot of sense. Thank you, my husband. Thank you for sharing with me. But see what I have also done. I've sat down, I've done our budget. In a month, this 200,000 that you've given us, God will bless you. But I've seen that it won't be enough. But I also know you're carrying all that load, and I don't want to stress you. I will add, for now, what I can add is 75,000. With this 275, I will make it work. We'll be able to eat. Can you see how it sounds when husband... I can see your face, Jerry. It's okay. Calm down. When you sit down and you share numbers, you agree, you will see that the family can grow. Where there is a problem is when you don't know your numbers. The man thinks, the woman is earning 1 million. The woman says, I know my husband. I know he's sending all this money to his family. Yeah, I saw him buy shoe for his girlfriend. Then you begin to have assumptions. But when we are transparent with numbers, and numbers do not lie. So everybody come to the table with numbers. And you will see that there will be...
Sincerely, I agree with what you just said.
Thank
right
you,
now.
thank you, thank
The way you came, you just put it. There's no one that would disagree with you.
Thank you.
I heard this some time ago that men lie, women lie, but numbers don't lie.
That's right.
And confronting or coming face to face with numbers is not an easy thing. That's what I've realized.
Absolutely.
But again, why when you said the men thing, a husband tell your wife?
No, just an example.
I know
Inside this example, it's
yeah, because I know that I've had cases where a woman knows that money is coming, and she just starts she starts planning. She will just start splitting the money in her head.
Mm-hmm.
That is when there is this one and there's all of that.
Of course, because you've not shared the full picture with her. There's no woman, and I'm saying this with, of course, there will be outliers. There will be people who are unreasonable. We're not referring to those people, and it's both ways. As a financial planner, I see the madness on both sides. But there's nobody who will be unreasonable when you show them numbers. If your husband comes to you or your wife comes to you and says, honey, I think we should take a position and buy this property. You bring this, I'll bring this, we'll join together, we'll build. People tend to be more reasonable. Where they are unreasonable is when you come with drama. So I'm going to encourage everybody. You see this year, 2026, I don't know where you've started on the journey, because when it comes to marriage, there are usually hidden factors. Some people, you need to deal with personality types. Some people have different money personality types. But that's a conversation for another day.
We'll have that conversation right now. I'm glad you touched on that. Personality type and money personality type of people, I think we should have it.
Okay, so when it comes to money personality type, it affects the behaviors people have towards money. Now, people are no longer logical. They begin to manifest behaviors based on different factors, past trauma, expectations, exposures, etc. Then some just default what they came with. Some people are natural spenders. They love to spend. Spending is their happy place. You give them money, and it's both ways. You see a man, he makes 200,000 naira. The first thing he's thinking is, I need to take my guys out this night. We need to shut down. He's just made 200,000. The first thing he's thinking is shut down. He's expressing his joy with spending. And it's not just spending with spenders. It's not just spending on themselves. They're spending on others. They feel good. Let people see that I've made it. So meanwhile, conversely, you have some people who are savers. Even if they make 200 million, the first thing they're thinking is, how do I protect this money? How do I ensure that tomorrow, because tomorrow money may not come, how do I lock it down? Whether it's 200 million that comes or 200,000, shishi, you will not see. The first thing they're thinking is preservation. Such people, especially if they came from very poor families, they've experienced lack, they've experienced pain, or they had money at some point and then lost the money. They don't ever want to experience that again. So their first reaction is to save, even at the detriment of themselves. They will not spend on themselves. So those are two extremes. There are also people who are givers. They give to the detriment of their family. There are many examples of men who will take their paycheck. First thing they're thinking is, oh, Iyabasira's child. Oh, Mama Aminu's daughter. Oh, my brother's son. They're thinking about solving people's problems. They're in church. They're the first to announce, oh, we will give this. They are givers. They love to give. And they're not giving from a place of appreciation. No, they just like to give. They just want to help. The problem with givers is that they give against the plan. There's no plan. They just give. Givers and spenders are the same. They give or they spend money without a plan. Savers are the other extreme. But then we also have planners. We have people who say, I want to help, but I will not help more than I can afford. So out of this 500,000 I earn every month, I will ensure that I give out 20,000 to the needy, to those who cannot help themselves. This 20,000 is for giving. How do I then decide who is the beneficiary of the 20,000? And that's why planning is so important, because you only have 20,000 for 4 weeks in a month. As a planner, you'll say, okay, in week 1, I'll give her 5,000. Week 2, another 5,000. Week 3, 5. Week 4, 5. Then you now know that, okay, I have 5,000 naira in this week. When you come with a problem of 10,000, no matter how you spin the story, I'm looking at you and I'm smiling, because buy more than 5,000, you will not see. I only have 5,000. So when you are done telling the story, whether you're telling it in church, whether you're telling it at work, whether you're telling it along the road, I only have 5,000 naira that I can afford to give. When I give the 20,000 at the end of the month, I don't feel guilty. I don't feel any sense of resentment because I have given to the maximum of my capacity. But you see, some people they'll give 20,000 at the end of next month they'll start resenting. I see now I gave him 20,000 today. Now he's buying new phone. Is that why you gave so that he will remain poor? No. But when you give according to the plan, and you say, for example, I'll use my personal example. There are defined people who are beneficiaries. There's a certain amount of money I give to the Society of St. Vincent de Paul, for example, because they're able to go to places I cannot go. I know they'll go to the hospitals, they'll go to prisons. That's their role. There's a certain amount of money I send to Skibu, I send to oncology departments in different places. I support cancer courses, but it's according to the budget. So at every point in time, there's money that I am giving. There's money that goes to family welfare. There's money to friends in need. But it's in a budget. If I have exceeded the budget for the month of January, and you come in January, I will beg you, oh my goodness, and you need to understand how to speak the language so that you don't come across as an evil spirit. Oh no, I am awfully sorry to hear about this. Although I am unable to assist at this time, believe me, by next week I'll be able to send something. Next week I will send. What I am saying to you is that shishi I don't have to give to you. Next month there's a budget for it and I will do it. And please, when next month comes, try to do it. That way you see that you are happy giving, the receiver is happy, everybody is happy, you're not under pressure.
I'm really happy you touched on this personality type. As I did tell you once, that I said we'll just go and the direction will just flow.